they're going to actually accomplish killing 9 out of 10 of us. But why? Because 9 out of 10 have bought into the ignorance. 1 out of every 10 have enough sense to look around and see something is not right. The other 9 are going to die in this because they're bought into a satanic system. And they believe that the ultimate good will prevail at the top of government. There is no good in these governments. The good people are at the bottom of these governments and are controlled and compartmentalized within government. So I didn't mean to go on that little thing there, but I wanted to put this out there for the new brothers and sisters out there who want to know what this is about. Listen, brothers and sisters, we are the children of Israel. Okay? We are the children of Israel. And I'm going to proclaim that because some people will like to say, well, don't talk about that. Let's talk about something else. No, I'm going to talk about that. Because if we begin to understand that, we'll see everything else. We'll start examining everything else rightfully. I don't have to deny who I am for someone else. Far too long we've been denied our nation. We were running around this earth, had no idea who we were. And everyone was fine with it. Now what type of world is that? Where you can go into India, go into Persia, and they can give you years of history concerning their people. And no one thinks there's anything wrong with that. But yet, I can't trace my lineage back anywhere. Okay? I can't have no national pride concerning my origin. That's a lost race. That's a lost race of people, and it was purpose. I need you to get Matthew 15 and 24 and Matthew 10, 5 and 6 real quick.
St. Matthew chapter 15, verse 24.
Read it.
But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
What Christ said?
But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Christ was sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. What is a lost sheep? People who have no idea who they are. And it's amazing that so many people are against us finding out we're Israel. But was fine with us walking around in total ignorance and darkness. Everything was fine. Well, what are you? Well, I'm black. Okay, so give me some understanding on this black. What you mean black? I mean, you look brown to me, but come on, give me some more. Well, I'm African American. Oh, you're two separate continents now. Oh, I'm West Indian. Oh, okay, so you're a direction along with a geographical location. No, you're lost. You're lost. You go ask an Arab who he is. I'm from the seed of Ishmael. So don't think it's something wrong with staking claim to who you are. Don't let them put that guilt trip on you. When we went years in captivity, servitude, destruction, and had no idea who we were. And everyone in this earth, the other nations, knew the whole time exactly who we were and didn't tell us. So you don't have to put that guilt on you when you stand proud of your national origin and who you are as a people. Okay, Josh, you got something for us here, right? What's this here? Okay.
It says,
read it.
Johann F. Blumenbach.
Give them the source in the book you have.
This is from Babylon to Timbuktu.
From Babylon to Timbuktu. Read it.
It says Johann F. Blumenbach of a German, 1752 to 1840, was the first to divide humanity on the basis of skin color.
Read that again.
It says Johann F. Blumenbach, a German,
A German, and we know the Germans are Khazars. Read.
Was the first to divide humanity on the basis of skin color.
He was the first to divide races on the basis of skin color. What does that mean? We have a date in which they came with dividing people based on skin color. When at one time, a nation wasn't defined based on skin color. It was based on your fathers. Why? You can have a dark-skinned Hamite, which is an Egyptian, and a dark-skinned Israelite, which is an Israelite like Moses. Even though they both dark-skinned and have similar complexion, they're two separate races. So you just can't say, well, here's black people and put all black people over here and say, okay, that's one race. The Germans did that to confuse people. All right? We are the children of Israel. Read Matthew 10, 5, and 6. And I'm going to keep on putting that out there. Because you have them you have these preachers, it doesn't matter. And then here it is, and I'm perplexed with these preachers who said, we are Gentiles, and they're proud of that. Now, if you are a Gentile, well, that's fine. But these preachers don't know that they have been programmed into teaching those in their neighborhood that they are Gentiles, so that we can look at the sorcerers and the killers and the murderers and those who are behind these wars over in Israel and proclaim them as the children of Israel. You've been programmed into thinking that you're under the curse of Ham. Okay? And this is, and when the preachers say that, I'm like, okay, if we're under the curse of Ham, show us a scripture of Canaan, which was the cursed son of Ham, going into captivity into the Americas by the way of slave ships. It's nowhere in the Bible. But there is a curse in Deuteronomy 28 and 68 that showed the children of Israel coming out of Egypt. The Most High told them if they didn't follow, that they would go into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereby I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies. Bind man and bind woman, and no man shall buy you, which means save or redeem you. That's crystal clear. That if we didn't follow the God who delivered us out of Egypt, which means the house of bondage, we would one day go back into the house of bondage by the means of slave ships. How can you ignore that? Now, am I wrong for pointing that out? I'm reading the Bible. Right? There's more I want to read. Read Matthew 10, 5, and 6.
St. Matthew chapter 10, verse 5 and 6.
Go ahead.
These 12 Yeshua sent forth and commanded them, saying,
These are the 12 disciples Christ sent forth, commanded them, saying,
Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Christ distinctly told his disciples originally not to go to the Gentiles. That didn't happen until after Christ was crucified. So at this point, there was no other people outside of Israel receiving Christ. The Romans at this time were what? They were pagans. This is Christ in Israel telling the disciples where to go. At this time, you got the Romans worshiping a virgin birth over in Rome as Christ is walking the earth. Sunday worship. All the things you see with Roman Catholics and the churches today, they were doing in Rome while Christ was walking in this earth. I got the proof from the two Babylons. Get the two Babylons and read it. It'll let you know, it'll parallel. It'll show you what was going on with Christ, and it'll let you know that the whole earth had been programmed into following paganism. The Roman Catholic Church was set up to undo what Christ did. And now we don't even know Christ anymore. We don't even know the Christ of the Bible. We have all become pagans. The virgin birth, all these other variables were being worshipped in Rome while Christ was setting up his disciples. Read.
These 12 Yeshua sent forth and commanded them, saying,
Go ahead.
Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
He told them, go not into the way of the Gentiles.
And into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not.
He told them don't go into Samaria because what? The 10 tribes were taken out of the northern kingdom of Samaria, and Gentiles were placed in there in 721 BC. You can read that in 2 Kings, the 17th chapter. So he told them, don't go where those Gentiles are in northern Israel, in Samaria. Read.
Verse 6. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Now, this is the New Testament, Christians. But go rather, I would rather you go to the lost sheep of Israel. Now, are we saying to exclude anyone? No. Because even Paul says to the Jew first and the Gentile, you have to establish the people first with truth so that they can teach the truth to the world. That's common sense. We're going backwards. We got Gentiles set up to teach the truth to the world. And they are pagans. That's backwards. In order for the world to receive the truth, it must come from the people who receive the truth in the beginning. Common sense. The devil has placed his ministers over religion. Let's get that in 1 Corinthians 11th chapter. Then I want to, man, I got almost a complete lesson here. Hold on. Go ahead. 2 Corinthians 11.
2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 12.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, it's not
13,
correct, verse 13.
Read.
For such are false apostles.
For such are false apostles.
Deceitful workers.
Deceitful workers.
Transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ.
Transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ. Who did this? The Roman Catholic Church. In 325 AD under Constantine in the Nicene Creed. Christ's gospel was actually absorbing the Roman pagan religion. The pagans said, no, we can't have this. So we're going to make a compromise. And we're going to compromise Christ's word with the pagan Roman temples. Hence, the Roman Catholic Church. You can't compromise with the truth. And at that time, they switched God's Sabbath every seventh day to the first day of the week, Sunday. They slowly but surely moved the world back into paganism, trying to undo the work of Christ and the disciples. And those are the churches that were set up. Don't forget, it was your Roman Catholics, your Romans and the Jesuits, who went throughout all the earth, conquering, killing, and setting up churches. So you don't have the true religion. You don't have the gospel of Christ within these religions. You are pagans. Yeah, the truth of Christ has been hijacked. And he warned us of that in Matthew 24. The many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And you know who that is? The Roman Catholic Church, the mother of harlots, the mother of all churches. Now, I'm wrong, though. We're not supposed to say anything about this. We're supposed to totally ignore this and just go about our lives and not reveal the truth and not expose these lies that have been perpetrated all over this earth. And not only that, we are the result of these lies. All the things they're doing, hell have come down on us. So they'd rather you say, listen, just be a good slave. Live your life, just go to sleep. Get a job. Die of the vaccinations we're giving you. Die. Okay? There's nothing to see here. In love. We love you too. We love you. We love you. Okay? It's love. Take this vaccination. Okay? Take this, drink a lot of fluoridated water. Just take this death we give it because we're loving you with it. Go to church. Sing till you die from what we're giving you, the diseases we're giving you. And then everything is fine because Jesus is love. So we're the bad guys for bringing forth truth. And no wonder Paul said in Galatians, have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Have we become enemies? You know we become enemies because who's the father of this world? Satan is the father and God of this world. So we are an enemy to his empire. So people would rather focus on attacking us than listening to what we're saying and getting on the right side of the fight and fighting with us. Listen to this clearly. Read.
Verse 14.
Go ahead.
And no marvel.
No marvel.
For Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light.
Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Everyone believes that Satan now, they believe that Christ is the real Christ, but really they're worshiping the Antichrist. The whole church has been infiltrated. Now the younger people are coming out of the churches now. You young brothers and sisters saying, listen, I know who I am. I want to stand for truth. And you got the mother saying, listen, you've been to church and I've been feeding you chitlins and pork chops for years. And you've been fine. And children are coming out of the churches and now they're saying, something is wrong with these children. A matter of fact, I'm going to go to a doctor and get my child on Prozac. Maybe if I give him a drug, he'll be right. Let me give my child Ritalin and Prozac. Let me actually destroy my child because they can, based on the fact that they can see. Instead of you opening your eyes and listening to the child, because Christ says, unless you be like one of these little children, you shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven. He says, through the mouth of babes will I speak to my people. You better listen to the young because the elderly have given up. The elderly have given up the fight. There's no more fights. After the civil rights, after they overcame that civil rights thing and pacified your pastors and preachers, there's no more fighting God's people. So the elderly then gave up. So now the Most High is going to put the spirit on the young. And we must listen to them. Now there's more. What time we have here? Let's see what time. What time it is there?
Yeah, 9.
So what time it is there? Okay. Man, I had a nice lesson, but go ahead.
Verse 14.
Go ahead.
And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light.
And no marvel that Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. One moment real quick. I'm going to take this next 30 minutes and bring forth this understanding that the Most High revealed. Because I don't want to miss out on this. I want you all to have this. So I wanted to put this out there for brothers and sisters, especially people who are learning, who are just coming to it to understand what it is. Okay? We're not racist. Okay? Anyone can receive the love of the truth. Okay? Jew or Gentile alike. But they will receive the truth. We accept any people regardless of race if they're willing to deal with truth and be baptized for the remission of their sins. And I want to put that out there. Because there's this stigma out there that if we acknowledge who we are, we're rejecting other people. Everyone else can stake claim to who they are, but we can't. That's something that we can't do. A Jewish person can say, well, yeah, we're the chosen people of God. And no one will push back. No one will say anything. Oh, well, they got to be the chosen. They got everything. No, they got everything under Satan. Okay? Revelations 2 and 9, Revelations 3 and 9. They got everything under Satan. Christ was taken to a pinnacle and was shown all these worlds, all these empires, and he turned them down. And you know who received them? The Romans. Somebody took Satan up on his proposition, and it's the people that's ruling the earth today. So don't come to me saying that, well, they got to be the chosen people. Look how rich they are. Look how powerful they are. They're rich and powerful based on their father, the devil. Okay, that's what they're getting from their father. And after they fall, they will rule no more. When Christ returns, that's it for them. The kingdom is going to the children of Israel. That's it. So listen, have fun. Go to Disney World. Do whatever you're going to do now because this is all you have. This is it. Now let's go into these scriptures. One moment. All right. I wanted to go into this because people, some brothers and sisters are asking questions based on the 7 seals. All right. So I want to give some clarity with the 7 seals. Also, we're going to bring forth some understanding according to the chariots, which is sometimes what they call UFOs. Now, you have righteous chariots, chariots of the Most High, and you have the majority of chariots you see out, especially in these big cities, when you see those orbs going around, they are Satan's chariots. A lot of these chariots or these orbs, or what you would call UFOs, are vehicles of Satan in a lot of these big cities. All right? So, the nearer we get to the end, the more you'll see. All right? But I wanted to go into the 7 seals to some degree. All right? Some people believe that with the 7 seals, that, okay, they're saying, well, this got to happen. That's the first seal. And then this happened. That's the second seal. And then when this happened, so people ask them, well, what seal are we in? No. Don't get confused here. All right? Satan has set up religion to make you believe that something is going to happen. That things are afar off, so that you don't recognize the time you're in and deal with the time you're in. There is no such thing as us being in a first seal or a second seal or a third seal or a fourth seal or a sixth seal or a seventh seal. It's not like a time period, okay, this day the Most High is going to open up a seal. It's not that way. When Christ was taken to the heavenly tabernacle, when he was taken to the Father after his crucifixion, after he took full power of hell and was in the earth for 3 days, was resurrected, appeared, and he was taken into the heavens. In the heavens, at that time, Christ let loose all the seals. He unloosed all the seals. Now, in order for you to understand what the seals are, for years the prophets and the elders of old time in the Old Testament, they were asking the Most High, when will we receive the promises of Abraham? How long will it be? How long should we suffer under the hands of these Gentile governments? And there were seals in heaven that would lead to us being released. But only the Son, Christ, could release those seals. Once those seals were released, then through time, with prophecies going forward, it would make it where our captivity would come off of us. And eventually, we would come back to the Most High and get the kingdom. But Christ was the only one who could loose those seals. That happened when Christ went to the heavenly realm. He's not up there loosening seals now. They're loose. Christ is just waiting for his Father to say, okay, it's time. So let me give you some scriptures to prove that. Okay? In the academy, we went through it not too long ago in the last one, but it will be in this one also, where we break down Daniel's seals of the 7th chapter. All those kingdoms. When you look at the Assyrian, the Babylonian Assyrian captivity, the Persian Medo captivity, the Greek captivity, then Rome, which is worse than them all, which we are in the remnant of the Roman Empire, because America, which is the new superpower, came out of the 3 kings that were a part of the 10 horns of Rome. America came out of France, Spain, and Great Britain. So America is that extension of Rome. So you got 4 separate kingdoms that the Most High was showing Daniel that needed their time to rule in the earth before he would give the children of Israel the promises of Abraham. Let's go to Daniel 7 and 13.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 13.
Now I'm going straight to the 13th verse because, you know, this is after the Most High showed Daniel all 4 kingdoms. All right? Then he's given Daniel a future prophecy that would lead to God's people being released. See, we're in captivity, brothers and sisters. We're slaves. Okay? Now, of course, this is high-tech slavery, but nonetheless, it's slaves. What is a slave? A slave is a person who don't have their own land, their own government. They don't have a right to their own laws, to execute the laws of their God. without intrusion, that's a slave. Okay? Not only that, the Most High made the earth to serve us. It doesn't cost anything for fruits to grow, for plants to grow, for animals to reprocreate for food. We're supposed to live off the earth for free. We were made in the image of the Most High, and He made all the things in the earth to minister unto His creation. We went into that in Genesis a couple of weeks ago, in the academy there. So, if you have to pay for what the Most High have put on this earth to minister to you, you are a slave. The Rothschilds, let me tell you, all the rich people, they don't pay for nothing. They don't spend a dime. They're free. Let's go to Daniel 7 and 13. Let's read it.
Daniel chapter 7 verse 13.
Read it.
I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven.
Came with the clouds of heaven. This is what Daniel is seeing. Go ahead.
And came to the Ancient of Days.
And came to the Ancient of Days. That's Christ being brought into the heavenly tabernacle to His Father after the crucifixion. That's what Daniel is seeing here. We're going to prove that. Read.
And they brought Him near before Him. And there was given Him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve Him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and His kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
So when Christ is set up, His kingdom shall not be destroyed. But the beginning of it was Him actually going to the cross, getting full power of death and hell, binding Satan within this earth, and then being taken to the heavenly tabernacle to shed His blood, so that we can one day be free as a people. Now let's prove that. It says, He was brought, hold on, read that Daniel 7 and 13 and get Psalms 104 and 3. Daniel 7 and 13, Psalms 104 and 3.
Daniel chapter 7 verse 13.
Go ahead.
I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven.
Came with the clouds of heaven. What are the clouds of heaven? Let's get Psalms 104 and 3.
Psalms chapter 104 verse 3.
Go ahead.
Who layeth the beams of His chambers in the waters.
Who layeth the beams of His chambers in the waters, which means you can see the beams off of the waters. Read.
Who maketh the clouds His chariots.
That maketh His what?
Who maketh the clouds His chariots.
Who maketh the clouds His chariots. Read.
Who walketh upon the wings of the wind.
So these are vehicles. Chariots carry something. And anything that walks on the wings of the wind flies. So if you've seen this with your own eyes, you would say, well, okay, that is a UFO. That is an unidentified flying object. So Christ was brought before the Father with the clouds of heavens, with these so-called chariots, according to the Bible. Let's go to Daniel 7 and 13 again.
Daniel chapter 7 verse 13.
Read.
I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven.
Came with the clouds of heaven.
And came to the Ancient of Days.
He came to the Ancient of Days. Now we know that it's the Most High who was before days. In the beginning, the Most High created the heaven and the earth. Christ was the first of all creation. So Christ was created on the beginning of the first day. He's the beginning and He will end it. So that's Christ being brought forth to the Ancient of Days. Read.
And they brought
hold up. One other thing I want to point out here. If Christ is being brought to the Ancient of Days, that means the Son of Man, which is Christ, is different from the Ancient of Days. The Ancient of Days is the Father. He was there before there were days. Christ came out of Him. So Christ is a product of creation. Christ being brought to the Ancient of Days. Read.
And came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought Him there before Him.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. And there was given Him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
So my question is, listen to this clearly, brothers and sisters. Do you think the governments of this world want Christ to return? So where's the Queen of England's throne once Christ comes? Where's the dominion of the American government or the other world governments once Christ returns? All right? Think about it. NASA is a space program linked with the Pentagon. So what do they have around the earth? Weaponry. They make you think these are space weapons that have been set up around the earth. So that if someone launches a nuclear missile, they can knock the nuclear missile out. No. They have weaponry pointed outward. It's in the scriptures that Lucifer promised that he would go into space and fight the Most High. They are preparing for Christ's return. Now listen to this clearly. This is blowing the trumpet right here. 2011, Barack Obama suspended the NASA program in America to let you know they've accomplished what they needed to accomplish with their weaponry out in space. It won't be long. It won't be long. So they know Christ is coming back. I'm going to show you this. And they know that he's coming back with chariots, and they know he's coming back with vehicles. It says that the chariots or the clouds of heaven took the Son of Man to the Ancient of Days in the book of Daniel. Let's go to Acts 1 and 9.
Acts chapter 1 verse 9.
Read it.
And when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight.
Hold up, read that again. This is the disciples. Read it.
And when he had spoken these things,
and when Christ spoke in the last things that he spoke to the disciples,
while they beheld,
while they looked at him,
he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight.
And a cloud received him out of their sight. Don't forget, these clouds walk on the wings of the wind. It's not the clouds you're looking at when you look outside. These are talking about chariots or vehicles. Read.
Verse 10. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel.
They were angels. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven?
Why are you looking up into heaven? Go ahead.
This same Yeshua which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner.
So the same way you see him going up, he's coming back. Now notice that when you go into Daniel, right after that, the angels take Christ to the Ancient of Days. That's what Daniel will see. He will see it, the continuation of what we read in Acts 1 and 9. So he says, why you stand there marvel? The same way he left, he's coming back the same way. He's coming with clouds. So the governments of this earth, these satanic governments have set up. They have sold their souls to Satan to fight against our Father, to fight against the Son who will send the Son who was sent by our Father, Ahaya, the I am that I am. They're going to fight it. There will be a war in heaven, brothers and sisters, again. Armageddon. This is what's going on, brothers and sisters. And Christ is coming to free us. These governments are trying to exterminate us before Christ returns. That's what's going on in this earth. Right? Now let's go to Hebrews 9 and 11.
Hebrews chapter 9 verse 11.
Now we go into Hebrews 9 and 11 to show you what happened once Christ got to the heavenly throne. Once he was taken to the heavenly throne, then what actions happened next? Read.
Verse 11. But Christ being come in high priest of good things to come, but a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building. Verse 12. Neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood he entered in once into the holy place.
So he went into the holy heavenly tabernacle Read.
Having obtained eternal redemption for us.
Having obtained eternal redemption for us. So now that blood will redeem his people. The same people who sinned in the Old Testament would redeem them back to the Father. Read.
Verse 12.
Now listen to this clearly for those that have been studying for a while. Now you understand why the Romans wanted to kill Christ at birth. They want you to stay slaves forever. They didn't want a redeemer to come into the earth, someone that was prophesied from the past to come get slaves out of captivity. The same as they tried to kill Moses when they heard that Moses would be born to one day deliver the children of Israel. You're going to tell me that this have nothing to do with race? They wanted to kill Christ, the Romans, to stop Christ from accomplishing what I'm reading right now. He needed to shed his blood for our sins so that we could one day receive the promise of Abraham. So they tried to stop that at birth, at Christ's birth. They wanted to kill him. They wanted us in slavery forever. Read.
Verse 13. For if the blood of bulls and of goats and the ashes of an heifer sprinkling the unclean sanctified to the purifying of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to the Most High, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living power?
Now he did this so he can purge our conscience from dead works to serve the living God. Christ had to die on the cross. Why? We are the people who fell from the old covenant. We needed a blood sacrifice according to the law. The other nations did not have the law of sacrifice. This law we read in the Old Testament of Christ dying on the cross was for the people who had the law of sacrifice for the redemption of sins. Listen to this. What they are doing in this earth, and their eugenics program, their Illuminati program, and everything they're doing is race specific. They're looking to annihilate and to destroy the children of Israel throughout the four corners of the earth. This is what they're looking to do. Now, whether you want to believe it or not, that's what's happening. And if you can explain why they're doing so many wars and killing people and about to go into Africa and kill them, and you think it's about money, these people can print as much money as they want. It's not about money for them. Okay? This is about the promises. This is about the time they have. They figure if they exterminate the children of Israel before their time, that there will be no one for Christ to come back for. They tried to kill him, and it didn't work. Joseph and his mother Mary took him into Egypt to hide amongst black people so that Herod wouldn't kill him. Herod was an Edomite, Idumean. He went into Africa and to hide from the Romans killing him. Now think about that. Then he came back and fulfilled his promise to die on the cross so that we as a people can one day stand as the children of Israel. So that we can actually stand in the promises of Abraham. Read.
Verse 14. How much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to the Most High.
He offered himself without spot to the Most High. That was the only way the people of the Old Testament who fell could come back to the Most High. These scriptures are not talking about the Jewish people that's over in Israel killing everybody and killing the Palestinians and doing all types of things they have no business. These prophecies are talking about the people who are suffering throughout the four corners of the earth and have served captivity under the British powers and under the German powers and under the Roman Empress power, under the Pope's power. Yeah, the light is coming on now. See, now, let me tell you, even in church, I didn't understand this Bible. But now that I know that it relates to us, it's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. It's easy to understand. If you don't know who you are in the Bible, how can you understand the Bible? Okay? Now, get back on topic. Go to Revelations 5. And let's start at the first verse. We're going to start going into these seals. One moment. Read.
Revelation chapter 5, verse 1.
Go ahead.
And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals.
Sealed. So there was a book, brothers and sisters. Listen. There was a book sealed with 7 seals. Read.
Verse 2. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice.
Go ahead.
Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof.
See that? So an angel was crying out and asking, who's worthy to deal with this book and these seals? Who's worthy to do that? Read.
Verse 3. And no man in heaven, nor in earth, nor under the earth was able to open the book, neither to look thereon.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon.
So the seals are broken so that this book can be released. Okay? Read.
Verse 5. And one of the elders said unto me, Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah,
The Lion of the tribe of Judah,
the root of David,
the root of David,
hath prevailed to open the book.
have prevailed to open the book. Now this is the root of David that have prevailed to open the book. So he was taken to the heavenly tabernacle, and now he's able to what? To release the seals. Because no man in heaven and no one in earth, no one in heaven, neither in earth, no man in earth had the power to do it. So once he was crucified and shed his blood, then this is his next task. He had to break these seals. Now listen, let's deal with that root of David real quick. Go to Romans 1 and 3. Let's go to Romans 1 and 3. Let's deal with that root of David real quick.
Romans chapter 1, verse 3.
I need you to get Acts 2 and 29 also. Let's deal with that root of David. Because so many people want to push back when we tell them the truth about this virgin birth.
Romans chapter 1, verse 3.
It says the root of David, right? Mm-hmm. Read.
Concerning his son, Yeshua Christ our Lord.
Go ahead.
Which was made of the seed of David.
Seed in Scripture, if you look at, listen, look at your Strong's Concordance and give me the word seed in the Greek. You know what word that is? Sperma. S-P-E-R-M-A. Women do not produce that. That's common sense. Which was made of what?
Which was made of the seed of David.
Women have eggs, men have sperma. So that's how he was made. Of the seed of David. Mary's lineage, which is in Luke, comes from Nathan, David's son. Joseph, who came from Solomon, when you look at Joseph, Christ's father, he came from Solomon's seed. The promises of the kingship from David's throne was not to Nathan, it was to Solomon. Mary is not under Solomon's lineage. Mary, let me repeat that. Mary is not under Solomon's lineage. The throne was not given to Nathan. The throne was given to Solomon. Solomon's lineage goes down to Joseph, Matthew the 1st chapter. Joseph was Christ's father. You've been tricked into this virgin birth through the Roman Catholic pagans who was worshiping the virgin birth while Christ was walking in this earth. Ancient Babylonians were worshiping a virgin deity. So was ancient Egypt worshiping a virgin deity. Okay? So when we get into this root of David, I'm making it crystal clear through precepts. Whether you hear or forbid, if you're following the virgin birth, you're following Ceramyces. You're saying there's a woman that was born into this earth above all women. That's the worships of Ceramyces. And Mary had other children too. A lot of people don't even know that. So that's not her first child. Her and Joseph did it again. And again. And had children. Okay? Now, let's go back to the root. Let's go Acts 2:29. And then we're going to go back to Revelations. Go ahead.
Acts chapter 2, verse 29. Men and brethren, let me freely speak unto you of the patriarch David.
Go ahead.
That he is both dead and buried, and his sepulchre is with us unto this day.
Go ahead.
Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that the Most High had sworn with an oath to him.
He's sworn with an oath. Now, the Most High don't lie now. He swore with an oath to David. To do what?
That of the fruit of his loins.
The fruit of his loins. What comes out of a man's loins? The fruit of his loins, read.
According to the flesh.
According to the spirit.
According to the flesh.
According to the spirit.
According to the flesh.
According to the what?
According to the flesh.
Spell flesh.
F-L-E-S-H.
Read.
He would raise up Christ.
He will raise up Christ, read.
To sit on his throne.
To sit on his throne. Now, if you look at the lineage in Matthew, the first chapter, that's Joseph's lineage. Mary did not come through Solomon. So I need somebody to give me that understanding. How was it that God is fulfilling the oath when Nathan, her great-great-grandfather, wasn't on the throne? Okay? Now, let's get back to the root of David. Go back to Revelation 5.
Revelation chapter 5, verse 5.
Read.
And of the elders, and one of the elders said unto me, Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book, and to loose the 7 seals thereof.
And to loose the 7 seals thereof. That tells us that once the seals are loose, then that's when they were loosed. So when people are looking today and saying, well, hold up, what seal are we in? Listen, the seals were loose. Now we are living in those seals being released. It's not a particular number. They were all loosed by Christ at that time. We're going to show you. Read.
Verse 6. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as it had been slain.
Now when it says elders, when Christ also you have to realize there was a time and when some of the elders, which were some of the prophets, were taken into the heavenly realm before the throne. That's going to be a whole other lesson we have to go in. So these particular elders are not in the bosom of Abraham. They're actually before the throne of the Most High. So there is some elders that were past prophets who were taken into the heavenly realm. Just like Enoch was taken into the heavenly realm. He's not in the bosom of Abraham. So there's some elders who were taken, who were living as men on earth and have a place at the throne of the Most High. And we're going to go into that lesson very soon. But go ahead.
And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as it had been slain.
That's Christ dying on the cross. Go ahead.
Having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High.
Which are the 7 spirits of the Most High. And those are the 7 spirits that were over the 7 churches. Let's get that. Hold it and get Revelations 1 and show them what those 7 spirits were. Revelations 1.
Revelation chapter 1, verse 20.
Read.
The mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand.
Go ahead.
And the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches. And the 7 candles which thou sawest are the 7 churches.
So it's showing you the 7 spirits that were set up over the 7 churches originally. And it named the churches. So there's 7 spirits that Christ would have that would be the signification of his church. Each church would have a key facet that makes one church. And when you look at those 7 churches, the Roman Catholic Church have nothing to do with any of these. The Roman Catholic Church is pedophilia, homosexuality, child sacrifice, human sacrifice, takedown, war, killing, murder, conquest. That's the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? Some people ask, well, why do they have so much pedophilia in the Roman Catholic Church? Listen, as long as we're here, there will always be children getting raped in the Roman Catholic Church. It's part of their rituals. The priest feels that he needs to take the innocence of a child to stay young. That's their thwarted philosophy. That's their thwarted ideology in the Roman Catholic Church. They raise the altar boys to get raped. That's what goes on there. And then when the altar boy grows up and become a priest, he want to get his youth back. So he go rape a little boy. And it's on and on and on and on. And then, listen, let me tell you, you better thank the Most High they did give you the news. Because without the news programming you into seeing something else, you would know what's really going on. Okay? Those nuns are not virgins either. They're there to also have intercourse with the priest and have child sacrifices. At the bottom of a lot of these churches, there's dead babies buried there. Child sacrifice. That's what they do. So when the church closes up, they have a party. Okay? And they have children. They have rituals and black robes and sacrifice children. That's the real world. Okay? What I'm mentioning to you is what really goes on. Now I know they have the news out there so that they can keep you in some type of spell. Don't think it's some rogue thing that priests are raping little boys and all that. It's part of the way, that's the way they have to do it. Okay? Satan has set up some rules for them. Okay? If you want to follow me, I'm going to need some children killed. I'm going to need y'all to do this. I'm going to need y'all to do that. So they set it up in a cushy little church with nothing but idols around, doing rituals to Satan. Okay? Now let's get back to it. Read.
Revelations chapter 5, verse 6.
Go ahead.
And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne, and of the four beasts, in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High sent forth into all the earth.
So there's 7 spirits that are sent, that was over the 7 churches. They're called the eyes of the Lord, and they still operate within the earth. Now, it's not a physical church anymore, but it's in the spirit of those who follow the truth of the Most High. Read.
Verse 7. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. Verse 8. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps, and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. Verse 9.
So that proves to you that when the saints pray, it goes up to an altar before the Most High. So don't think your prayers are not being listened to. They go before the altar of the Most High. And he sends your prayers down as thunder. So when you hear thunder, you know the Most High is answering prayer. So they go before his throne and they're put into a censer before an altar. Read.
Verse 9. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book, and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain, and hast redeemed us unto the Most High by thy blood out of every kindred, and tongue, and people, and nation.
It says out of every kindred, tongue, and people, and nation. Why does it say out of every tongue, kindred, and nation? There was a curse on the children of Israel that for breaking the commandments of the Most High, that they will be spread throughout the 4 corners of the earth, throughout every tongue, kindred, and nation. So Christ's blood had to be shed. He had to do these things so that our curse would one day go away, so that we could one day stand as the people again. So this awakening is not just happening amongst us, it's happening throughout every nation, and kindred and tongue. Our people are waking up all over the earth. And you know what? The Illuminist powers are scared. Okay? With all their programming, with all their sorcery, with all their power, they could not stop us from waking up. Through their abortion programs, everything they're doing, they could not stop this awakening. So now, okay, National Defense Authorization Act, let's just kill them. All right, let's just kill them and lock them up and do it. Let's just show them exactly who we are now. Okay? At one time, we could operate with an unseen hand. They just thought everything was just by chance or just coincidence. But now, they're actually pointing to us. It's being revealed what we're doing. So, okay, they say, okay, let's kill them now. Let's ramp up these vaccinations and have forced vaccinations. Let's euthanize the children of Israel all throughout the earth. Let's kill them. Right? So that's their plan. But Christ got another plan. And we're going to say this to them because we know they look and listen to these things. We know they're reading our Bible too, even though they tell everybody else the Bible is not true. This is one thing that they know. They will get 9 out of 10. But you must fear that one that's going to survive. Okay? That's the point. The Most High will have that 10th that will make it through. And buddy, these people who will make it through this is this world's worst nightmare. Spiritually. Okay? Because the Most High, the weapons of the Most High's army, listen, his weapons are not carnal. It will come a point in which the Most High will put power on his people, in which your little weapons will do nothing. Okay? We will be transformed. We will be changed. See, they know this too. They know this too. So they are scared out of their minds. Why? Because God's people, the poor, are waking up all over the earth. Now they're going to go over in Africa over some garbage, and they're going to kill our people over there. They're going to start slaughtering our people all over Africa, and yet none of your so-called black leaders are going to stand up and say anything. They'll stand up over one black guy that got killed in the city, not saying that was right, what happened. But why are you not standing up with the mass genocide of our people? You're just feeding the race, black against white, so, as a distraction, while they go over into Africa and kill thousands, hundreds of thousands. Okay, let me try to keep this on point. Excuse me, go ahead.
Verse 9.
Go ahead.
And they sung a new song saying.
And they sung a new song saying what?
Thou art worthy to take the book, and to open the seals thereof.
Go ahead.
For thou wast slain, and hast redeemed us to the Most High by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation.
Go ahead.
Verse 10. And hast made us unto our power kings and priests.
We will be kings and priests. You know what? And the Queen of England only kicked off her throne. She shouldn't be there. Okay? She's not a queen. Okay? The prince, I don't know who these guys came, they princes. These people are from Transylvania. They're Khazarians. They're from Mount Seir. And trying to act like they're royalty. Blood-drinking, Dracula, satanic, child-molesting killers. That's what they are. They want to be looking all proper. And she's a murderer. This is what's going on all around the earth, brothers and sisters. They found some young girl, 17-year-old, on her property just a couple of months ago, sacrificed, and no one said nothing. Oh, story went away. Okay, okay. She's the queen. She can kill and sacrifice people. The Bible says right here, read it again.
And has made us unto our God kings and priests.
Kings and priests.
And we shall reign on the earth.
We're going to reign on the earth. That's what they fear. Yeah, you're going to kill 9 out of 10. But the 9 out of 10 you're going to kill, the majority of them are people who have sold to your system anyway. They don't want to see anyway, so they're dead. Okay? But that one who can see, that's following the Most High is going to bring them through. The 9 who want to stay ignorant and act like nothing is happening and just make a facade for themselves, or just program themselves to believe that, okay, if I don't believe this, it's not going to happen. You're dead. Because at least if you can see, you can prepare. So don't think it's not going to happen because you wish it don't happen. The Most High said everything the Most High prophesied in this Bible had happened. So if you're one of those 9 out of the 10 who believe that you're so special that the Most High is going to stop everything that he said he was going to do because you don't see it yet, you're going to get rolled over. That's just the way it is. 9 out of 10. A 10th is going to make it through this. And they're going to make it to the wilderness. And while we're in the wilderness, the nations which are in the Middle East now are going to try to come against us. So we know what the prophecies say concerning that. Our Lord is coming. And we will be saved. Just like there was water on one side. It was water on one side. And you had water, the Red Sea. And you had the chariots coming to kill us under Pharaoh out of Egypt. They thought they had us. So we got them trapped. Yeshua had a chariot and made a chariot of fire between us and them. And then the chariot went and split the water, and we walked through on dry shod. Yes, the invisible will make themselves present while we're in the wilderness. We will be saved out of the wilderness. They know this. And they're in the Middle East to try to stop us from getting into certain areas. They hid certain books so that we couldn't put it together, so that we wouldn't be able to put it together. But the Most High, through the grace of Christ, through these seals, through the understanding of what He's given us, we have put it together as much as we could. Go ahead, brother. Give him the chapter and verse where you left off.
Revelations 5 and 9.
Revelations 5 and 9. Read it.
And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book, and to open the seals thereof. For thou wast slain, and hast redeemed us to the Most High by thy blood, out of every kindred and tongue, and the people and nation, and hast made us unto our power kings and priests.
So we will be kings and priests. Okay? That will be the end of this. When Christ returns, we'll be kings and priests on this earth. Read.
And we shall reign on the earth.
And a lot of you want to die to go to heaven. Listen, we're supposed to be reigning on earth. We're not waiting to die and go to heaven. Heaven is going to be right here. We shall reign on the earth. Read.
And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne, and the beasts and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands.
Now look at all of them, and it tell you all of them are coming back with Christ. 10,000s of thousands. So you think their little space program is going to do something against this? What they know is coming from space? You think they're out? What you think they're out in space for, brothers and sisters, if this Bible is not true? What are they doing out there? Think about it. They know what's out there, brothers and sisters. Lucifer said that he would go to the sides of the north. He would go to the throne of the Most High and be like the Most High. He promised to go up in space. The book of Obadiah tells us that he got with Esau. And it says when they set their nest among the stars, how do you set your nest among the stars? You set up space stations to live. When you set your nest on those stars, when you come out in space, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So they know what they're doing out there. They're preparing for the final war. They're going to fight for this planet, brothers and sisters. They will fight for this planet. They've programmed your children, your churches, everything to be in the mindset to think that what's coming out of the sky is evil. And what's coming out of the sky is wrong. They had Will Smith fighting on Independence Day from something coming from space. Making you think that what the Most High, it tell you that Christ is coming from the sky. The same way he left. So they're preparing you to think that the enemy is coming for you. He's not our enemy. He's the enemy of all governments. Now listen, I know some people might say, man, y'all say some serious things. Aren't you scared? Listen, brothers and sisters. Listen, our life is coming back with Christ. Okay? Seeing this and not saying nothing is not going to help anyone. Someone must proclaim the truth. So even if it's to the death, we must proclaim the truth so that others can wake up and come to the Most High. So that if they do anything to us, there'll be somebody else standing up right in our stead. Finish reading.
Verse 12. saying with a loud voice,
Go ahead.
Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power, and riches, and wisdom, and strength, and honor, and glory, and blessing. And every creature which is in heaven, and on earth, and under the earth, and such as are in the sea, and all that are in them, heard I saying, Blessing, and honor, and glory, and power be unto him that sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb forever and ever.
Read.
And the 4 beasts said, Amen. And the 24 elders fell down and worshipped him that liveth forever and ever.
Now when it speaks about these 4 beasts, there's 4 hideous beasts that operates in the spirit before the Most High, under the Most High's commands. And these 4 beasts are released to do certain things in the earth once these 7 seals are loosed. I'm going to show you. But before that, let's get the eyes of the Lord, the spirit of those 7 churches, the spirit that's in the earth, which are called the eyes of the Lord. Get Amos 9 and 8. 9 and 8. Amos 9 and 8. Read it.
Okay.
Read it.
Amos chapter 9 verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Most High Power are upon the sinful kingdom.
The eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom. Read.
And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth.
And I will do what?
And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth.
These are the eyes of the Lord that was mentioned in Revelations 5 that was before the throne with Christ. They are upon the sinful kingdom. They go to and fro throughout the earth and report back to the Father. And there's no kingdom more sinful than Babylon. I mean, you got a country with now they got each state voting in homosexuality as a normal way of life. Homosexual marriage. How can that even be in the same? How can that be in the same sentence? A homosexual marriage. Marriage is man and woman. It's just like Sodom and Gomorrah. They let the nihilists loose, they let the deists loose, they let the homosexuals loose. Then the Most High rained fire down on Sodom and Gomorrah. That's why it says, the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom, and he will destroy it from off the face of the earth. That is prophecy. Read.
Saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob.
He says, but he will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob. So you're going to tell me Israel is not important? Jacob is the father of Israel. So he's going to destroy that sinful kingdom, but he's going to spare some of Israel in that country. Read.
Saith the Most High, for lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations.
He will sift the house of Israel among all nations. Read.
Like as corn is sifted in a sieve.
Go ahead.
Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth.
Not let the least grain shall come upon the earth, shall fall upon the earth. So all those that belong to the Most High in Christ, Christ is going to protect. He's going to gather them and hold them. That tells us that this destruction that's coming is really not meant for us. It's meant for these wicked empires who have destroyed us. I hope you all can see this. See, you're not going to see this in these churches because these are government-sponsored temples that are taught to uphold government, opposed to revealing the truth of these satanic governments. You'll never hear this teaching in any church or any mainstream religion temple. That's the reason, because they're set up through Satan. Let's go back to Revelations. And let's read the 6th chapter.
6 and 1.
6 and 1.
And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer.
Now we know this is eventually Christ coming to conquer, Revelations 19 and 11, sat on a white horse. But did that happen yet? No. But that seal was broken that will allow that to happen when it's time. You understand? Hold that and get Revelations 19 and 11. Let's see what this is here.
Revelations chapter 19, verse 11.
Read.
And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True.
Now I'm going to show you something. Did Christ open the seal? Yes. Did it talks about him conquering on the white horse? Yes. But have Christ came back with the white horse yet? No. So that's proven that even though the seal's been broken, we must wait for it to be fulfilled. All the seals have been broken. But it's showing you the things that would happen within those seals being broken after Christ went to the cross. So it's showing you the things we need to look for that will eventually happen. Okay? Read.
And in righteousness he doth judge and make war.
Through righteousness he will judge and make war. So when Christ returns, he coming back for war. So who's he fighting against? Those who are ruling the earth. All these satanic governments are preparing to fight against Christ. If Christ is coming to make war, who will be fighting him? Revelation 17 tell you who will be fighting him. The 10 horns. Who are they? The power is going back to Europe. The Europeans will fight Christ at the very end. He will kill them. And then the kingdom will be established. You got to take out the big guy. People think America's the big guy, but America is really being controlled. And now they're dismantling America now. And they're going to take America out so that they can have power. Because America leapfrogged Europe as the superpower. And Europe didn't like that. So now they're going to make pretext for America to be totally annihilated according to Scripture. And then power will go back to the 10 horns. That's Revelation 17. So they will fight against Christ when Christ returns. So they're not looking for Christ. The Queen of England don't love Christ. The prince, I hate even calling him prince. He's no prince. That guy, he's not waiting for Christ either. Okay? He's not waiting for Christ either, brothers and sisters. They're looking to fight against Christ. Like they're fighting against Christ's people in this earth. Read.
Verse 12.
Go ahead.
His eyes were as a flame of fire.
That's our Lord and Savior.
And on his head were many crowns.
Now, many crowns, which means he's going to take all the crowns of everyone sitting on a throne in this earth. So Christ will war against the world armies. NATO. The world armies will fight against Christ. And you think these weapons they have in this world that we have seen or something. They got some serious weapons, even out in space, that are 50 years ahead of the weapons we see now. But they think they can win based on this technology. Right? There will be a war in heaven. Let's get back to Revelation 6. Read. 6 and 1. 6 and 2.
And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow. And the crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer.
Go ahead.
And he had opened the second seal. I heard the second beast say, Come and see. And there went out another horse that was red. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. When he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand.
Go ahead.
And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine.
When it says, see not thou hurt the oil of the wine, or the wine, it's talking about the angels. The 4 angels who are sitting on the 4 corners of the earth, which links to these 4 beasts, saying, hurt not the earth or the sea, until he has sealed the seal of the living power in the elect's name, in the elect's heads. Let's go there. Hold that, get Revelation 7 and 1.
And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea.
So there's 4 angels who will be let loose to allow everything to happen as you see happening in the earth today. Read.
Saying, hurt not the earth.
Don't destroy the earth yet.
Neither the sea.
Neither the sea.
Nor the trees.
Nor the trees.
Till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads.
Until the servants are sealed. Now, I'm going to show you the importance of this. And this is from the heavenly realm. The Most High is speaking in Revelations here. Read.
And I heard the number of them which were sealed.
And I heard the number of them which were sealed.
And they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
So you mean to tell me the children of Israel are not important? When the Most High is saying, don't hurt nothing, don't touch this earth until you seal 12,000 of each tribe of my chosen people. You're going to realize this whole thing we see, we call life, in this earth revolves around the children of Israel. The governments want to ignore them because, yes, they want to kill them. But the Most High is not ignoring them. You see that? So he's telling the angels, don't hurt anything until these people, my people, are sealed. So that's the importance of our people waking up. The children of Israel. That's the importance. Now let's go back to Revelation 7. Revelation 6, where you left off, where it says the oil.
Verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And when he had opened the 4th seal...
When it says hurt not the oil of the wine, these things come from the earth. Hurt not the earth. You understand? Go ahead.
And when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th beast say... Now
listen, Christ opened these seals already. So when people are asking, well, what seal we're in, all the seals have been opened already. We're just living while these seals are being executed in the earth. These seals will slowly break down Satan's kingdom and allow Israel to come free. They will allow us to come back to the Most High. That's what these seals are being broken for. So that we can actually fulfill the promises as God's people and come back to Christ. Read.
Verse 7.
Go ahead.
And when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th beast say, come and see.
Go ahead.
And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth.
Now, do we see that going on today? Famine and all those things? So we know that we're living with all these seals operating. One seal that hasn't been fulfilled yet is Christ coming to get us out of this hell we call life. Okay? That haven't been fulfilled yet. Read.
Verse 9. When he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High.
Now he see those who died standing for the word of the Most High God. Ahia. Read.
And for the testimony which they held.
And for the testimony which they held. So they were killed by government for holding the testament of the Bible. And what does that tell you? That the governments are under Satan. Why would they kill those who stand for the truth of God? Who was Christ killed by? I know people try to blame it on Israel, but he was killed under Roman crucifixion. They brought him up to Pontius Pilate. That was a Roman crucifixion. Who killed Israel in 70 AD? The Romans. Okay? So when it says those have been slain and martyred for the truth and for the commandments and for the Bible, listen to this. That means those who would kill them are against the Most High. And I know it's hard to believe that your government's all satanic, but it's what it is. Read on.
Verse 10. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true,
How long, O Lord, holy and true?
dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?
How long? Why haven't you avenged our blood on these people who dwell on the earth, on these Romans, these Rothschilds, these Rockefellers, these DuPonts, these Bushes, these so-called Queen Elizabeths, these people who are killing everyone? They're in the heavens saying, how long? When are you going to judge these people for doing what they're doing to us? Right? Read.
Verse 11. And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled.
So something else have to happen in the earth. Others have to rise and be martyred as the disciples were martyred. There's others that must be killed for a testimony. Okay? Read.
Verse 12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, and she is shaken of a mighty wind.
Now that's amazing that it says her untimely figs, because the fig tree sometimes fall to the ground out of season, showing you that when this happens, Satan have less time than he think, because it's going to come at a time in which he don't even know. It's going to be untimely, like the figs. And when it says that the moon turned to blood and the angels didn't give their light, or the stars didn't give their light, all the luminaries in the heavenly realm are going to turn into their angelic form on their way back to this earth. It's going to be total darkness. I'll tell you that in the book of Amos. Total darkness. And the only light the earth will see is when Christ is destroying them out in space on his way here into this earth. He will be the light of the earth. You're going to see satellites falling to the ground, crushing everything. You're going to see those little toys they call weaponry. They're going to be falling all over the place. And you know what? And we're going to be relaxed in the wilderness. Most High is going to have a place for us protected by angels, while all this mayhem is going on, and it's coming. Listen to this clearly. Read.
Verse 14. And the heavens departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every freeman, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains.
And they hid themselves in the rocks. They go, you Illuminati guys, and all you guys think you're going to run into the mountains, think you got food waiting, and all those things until the smoke's clear. No. It tell you that Christ is going to be sending, yes, his elect into those mountains, dragging you out of there. Okay? To serve. You're going to clean up what you messed up. You think you're going to escape? Then a lot of them think they're going to fight with their weaponry against Christ. You know what I mean? They got weapons around those mountains too. Okay? This is the scriptures here. We know you got underground caverns all in these mountains. Think you're going to run away from your judgment. No. You're not. There's nowhere to hide. Read.
And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us.
They're going to say, listen, we'd rather die by these rocks here. Read.
And hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne.
Please hide us from Christ. That's your elite. They're going to be running from Christ. A brother too. They're going to be hiding. Oh, I thought y'all were Christians. Why are you hiding from Christ? Why are you asking the mountains to fall on you? I thought you was waiting for, you can't wait till Christ returns and take you into heaven. Finish reading.
And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb.
And from the wrath of the Lamb. So Christ is coming with wrath. So it's up to us to come back to the Most High, find a way back, keep his commandments, and follow what he needs us to follow, so that we can be found worthy when he returns. Now, I went through this so that all of you that are waiting on seals and looking at the 7 seals, understand that the seals were already loosened when Christ went to the throne. Okay? Any questions? If y'all have questions, we answer questions. If they have questions, we're going to open it for 5 minutes, and then we can pray out. No questions? Okay. All right, let's see if we got questions here, and then we can pray out, because there's other things I wanted to go into, but we have to probably save that to a later time. Hold on, let me name this here.